Welcome back to 10 minutes a day sewing challenge. So we're ready for day 4 and I'm so excited about how this is all coming together. Now if you've watched the other videos, you know that we've sewn a bunch of blocks like this together to make 2 long strips, and I've sewn those together. This is one strip that's 9 blocks long, and this is the other strip that's 9 blocks long. Actually, one of them is 8 long, and then I sewed the 2 strips together. Now today what I want to work on is this right here. See this? The other day when I was finished sewing, I had the 2 strips that was 1 block short. So here's what I did. I left this part unstitched because I need to attach another block right here and then finish out the strip. I'm very excited to have 2 symmetrical pieces put together because, you know, as I've shown you, it's just a hodgepodge of pieces. So this will cover about 1/3 of the size of the quilt I'm making. This is the block that I'm going to use. These blocks aren't really symmetrical in size. Some of them are smaller, some of them are bigger. So I did sort of measure. Remember, we're not overthinking this, we're just sewing. But what I did sort of measure this area and found a block of already sewn that's very similar in size. So what I'm going to do now is take this block and put pretty sides together, and I'm going to sew a seam to attach this. Now, even this block, see how much wider? Let me see if I can show you. Can you see how much wider this is? So it's not even perfectly symmetrical either. I'm going to line up this edge right here. Since this will be sewn like that, then the extra will be over here. Now I'm going to sew these 2 blocks together. When you're sewing and you start a seam, I like to back stitch. It kind of ties a knot. On my machine, this button right here does a back stitch. Different machines have them different places, but I do like to do a back stitch so it kind of ties a knot. Okie dokie, yay! Now I need to take this block that I just attached and finish the length of my 2 pieces. So now let's do that. You guys, I think I've decided that everything is figure-outable. Everything is figure-outable. And there are very, very few things in life, if you mess up, you can't fix it. In relationships, you can say, I'm sorry, I forgive you. I know relationships are the hard one. They really are. But they're worth the effort when both parties want to make it work. or in situations like tangible things like sewing, if you mess up or it doesn't work, just figure out plan B. Now look at this. You know what? Okay, first let me tell you this. Now I have these two completely sewn together with blocks that match all the way to each end. Now look at this, where I just sewed these two together. This scrap, this block, this quilt piece right here sticks out beyond the entire strip. So what I'm going to do, I took my seam ripper to my other work. Here's one. I've got more than one seam ripper. So what I'm going to do is just very carefully take the seam out. Bless this little person's heart, all these sweet little hand stitches. But anyway, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to remove this block. That way my edge will be more symmetrical and straight. I'm going to save this piece of fabric right here in case I need to use it to fill in somewhere else. So this seam ripper is dull. I use seam rippers in all of my wedding sewing, all of my formal wear design, and my seam rippers get dull quickly. And it's always amazing when you have a new seam ripper and it's fresh and sharp. You have to be careful that you don't cut a hole and stuff though. She got a nice little knot tied in this one. She was definitely able to use her needle and thread to a great advantage. Okay, there we go. Now, like I said, I'll save this piece. I may need it somewhere else. Now I have two complete lengths that are symmetrical all the way down the length of the bed. So that's day 4. Now I kind of need to reassess where I am and figure out which of these big pieces I want to put together. Then I'll start filling in with the smaller pieces. So tomorrow on day 5, we'll see how big we can get it.